Hey folks, David here. Today I'm going to do a rebuild or a restore or fix up of a Tyco power torque engine, and this is the Midnight Special. I thought these were kind of cool, and I kind of was looking for one, and I don't remember if I got this at Amherst or at the Allentown train show, but yeah, this has the power torque motor like that. And you know, when I get one of these, I just take the whole thing apart and completely take it apart and clean everything like it's brand new. So what we're going to do is start with that. And before I get started, what I'm going to do, this would normally go in here like that. Okay, so we have brass wheels on this side and brass wheels on that side, and so forth. So you can either take a picture of it with your camera,
or make a little drawing here, kind of like that, front, and then we have these ones here. And then in the back we've got a brass screw on this side, and this side, and then the black one's over here. So we can put brass.
So we have a drawing like that, and like I said, you can make a drawing, or you can take a picture of it with your phone, whatever. So you know how that goes back together, because you don't want the brass wheels on the same side, because it'll never work. So let's just take this apart completely, and obviously I'm going to have a little bit of wiring fixed in here, because there's no wires connected to that. Okay, I've never seen anything like this before, and this is just that old that this was stuck together that bad, and I actually broke that little clip off right there. Not that big of a deal, but I still need to, can I get that out of here without messing that up? I want to bend up the edges of that without breaking it. Really don't know. You know what? I'm just going to take, there's a screw right here. I'm going to take that screw out and do it that way. Okay, so we got that apart. That's out of there, and I'm sure when I put this together, I'm going to forget to put that wire through there. If I have to actually replace the wires, I can solder onto this little tab right here, and I'll take that out. So what I'm going to do here with this shell is take this shell to the sink, and I'm going to wash this with a toothbrush and a little bit of hand soap, like some dial soap. So you just take a toothbrush like that, rub it on the soap, and then do a real gentle cleaning, because I don't want to accidentally rub off some of these numbers or the letters and everything like that, all the painting on here. So I'm going to take this over to the sink. I'll be back in a minute. Okay, so I got that pretty clean. Some of the white is still not that great, but that's as good as it's going to get. Yeah, it says a little bit yellowed there, and the silver's kind of coming off. That's all right. That's all right. We'll just get the dirt off of it, and we'll let it sit. So we'll let that sit and dry. Maybe it'll be dry by the time we're done. So let's start with the rear truck here, and we'll just take that all the way apart. with 3 screws in here. And I see the side cover came loose. Alright, we'll have to take this and clean this too. Yeah, that side cover broke on there. That's a shame. Alright, so we got those 3 screws. We got this. We got these. Alright. So we'll start with just cleaning these wheels real good. Okay, looking pretty good there. I am going to take all this 45.4. I'm not sure exactly what that means. I'll have to find out. Maybe somebody could tell me. Okay, so I'm going to take these parts here and clean them because there's just a little bit of dirt on here, so I'm going to clean them again with the toothbrush and the sink. That's pretty clean. We'll clean it anyhow. Alright, back in a minute. Alright, got all the parts for the rear truck cleaned off here. It's good just to get, you know, make sure that the plastic wheels are clean, really good, and everything else, just to make sure we didn't miss anything. So we'll let that sit there and dry. Okay, let's get to the front truck. So on the front truck, you'll notice that the coupler is body mounted, so there is no coupler on the truck. On the rear truck, there is a coupler mount right there. Take that apart. Take our wheels out. Not too bad. Take this out carefully. That is okay. A little bit stuck. Now, when you get to this part, it's good to make sure that this moves, because sometimes when you take this gear off, if it's stuck on there, you'll end up breaking that pin in the middle, and you don't want to do that. I made a video or two of repairing that, but it's not very fun. There we go. That came off with no problem. That came off with no problem. And there's a little bit of gunk in here, but actually I've seen a lot worse. Yeah, you're all right. That spins good. So we'll take 2 screws off. Screw here, screw here. And lose it. Carefully. Okay, so that's all part. Here's your brushes right there. There's a spring. Careful with that. Your brushes. And okay, yeah, there's the other spring. That doesn't look like it's worn too bad. It's not too dark in there. A lot of times that commutator there is all black with carbon. So this doesn't look like it's been run much. And actually looking at the brushes, they're not too bad. So we'll clean that up right quick. And a toothpick, get in between there real good. Okay. So I'm going to take all these parts like I did for the other one, take the screws out, and I'm going to scrub this real good. These gears I like to clean really good because they get a little gunk on them. And of course these wheels too. A lot of times these wheels get cracked. Surprised the traction tires on this actually look pretty good. Screws. Let me get a little container here. Alright. So these things can get away from you pretty quick, so you want to be careful. The springs and the brushes and the screws. 1, 2, 3, 4. We're missing a screw, aren't we? Okay, let me go clean this up. Got all my parts clean, and the screw that I was missing was actually stuck in the cover plate here. So I use a cleaner called Awesome Orange from the dollar store on all the mechanical stuff, and it's a really good cleaner and degreaser. So yeah, I clean everything, you know, to make it like new. Okay, let me clean up these parts. You want to make sure you clean the gears, these small gears, really good, because they attract a lot of dirt, and the gears on here too. You want to make sure you clean those really good. All right, just give me a minute. I'm going to dry all this stuff off and get all the water off of it. And I also have to shine up these wheels. I should have done that before I washed them, but that's okay. I took the motor assembly out to the garage and blasted it with the air compressor. Make sure all the moisture was out of there. Got that pretty cleaned up. So we need to put this back together. I guess the first thing, we should clean these brushes off real quick. You can use a pencil eraser, or you can use your scratch brush here. These do not look that terrible. All right, now we need to get this back together, and I have a little trick for this. Some people like it, some don't. But it works for me. So we're going to take an index card and we're going to cut it off. So we got 3 lines here. So we have a 3x5 index card. We're going to cut it inside these 2 lines here. About 1.5 inches. Cut that out so we have something like that. And then we take a toothpick to get our springs here so we don't lose them. And we get our springs in, and then our brushes carefully in here. And it doesn't matter which way those brushes go in. They can go, you know, if you flip them, it's okay. And we take this, We put it over like that. Now I forgot to show you before I put this together, but I'll show you how do you know the top from the bottom. So we got that together, and then just carefully slide that out. Boom. So the contact on the bottom here, that'll have the that'll be grounded right there. So you'll know that, because if it goes around the other way, that's not grounded. So that's the way that goes. Let me get the drop of water out of here, because we need to solder a wire onto that, to the ground. And we'll screw this together. We'll throw the screwdriver on the floor. I was a little bit confused. I had to go back and look, because this contact here will go to the headlight, and then this one here is supposed to go to the rear truck, because this is grounded. That goes to the chassis for the front truck, and then the rear truck has to be connected to here. And I'm looking at it and thinking, well, why is that? There should be a connection point. And I go to look at this, and this has never been, this thing would have never worked. So that was never soldered on there correctly. So like, this is the wire that goes to the rear truck, and it also is this wire right here, which would go to there, and then this wire from the other end of the headlight goes to here. So what do I got to do next? I guess I'll get the soldering iron hot and solder those wires together. Sometimes we can test these before that. Well, you know what? Let's do that. I have a little 12-volt power supply here that I use for testing motors. All right, might as well test this real quick. I didn't put any oil in there yet. I'm just going to do this for a second here. Yeah, you hear the squeak? Okay, so we need a drop of oil before we go too far. Now this is 10 weight air tool oil. In other words, you use this to oil your air tools. Now you can use, this is, $7 or $8 Conduct-A-Lube. You can use that. You can use your CRC 226. Whatever you like. It's all good. I would not recommend 3-in-1 oil, because that stuff kind of gunks up for some reason. It's got like an additive in there. So with a drop of oil on there, let's make sure we don't have any squeak. Beautiful. Okay, so you don't want too much oil on here. You got to put a drop. That's where your squeaking comes from, here and here. And you don't want to get too much on there, because that'll get on the motor and just gunk things up pretty bad. So drop of oil there, drop of oil there. We're good on that. Yeah, let me plug in a soldering iron and get that hot. Soldering iron is hot. Let's put this together. Well, first of all, let's solder on the other part of that headlight. And we need to put a little solder on here to tin it first. And what happens when you put a little solder on there, the insulation kind of shrinks up on you a little bit. And that wire is pretty old. Okay, I can't get the solder to stick to this. I'm gonna have to replace that wire. A lot of folks tell you you have to use flux. This solder actually has flux in it. It's like a resin core. And so in the middle, there's actually flux in there. So on this wire, we get that extra solder off of there. Okay, this one from the headlight. Let me, yeah, this stuff, I mean, this wire is 50 years old, so let me just replace that. I'll be back. The smart thing to do before I go ahead and replace the light bulb would be to test it, and of course, that one does not work. So let me find a good light bulb. Okay, so I have a good light bulb here. Good. Okay. Let's continue. Okay, so we're going to put the rest of this together here. Start with that gear. And then this gear. And then this gear. I'll oil that all when I get it together. Let's see. There. Oh, yeah. Big crack right here. So we're going to put a little bit of oil on our wheels here. Missed that one. And we're going to put just a drop in these screw holes so the screws don't get stuck. And this only goes on one way. These these screws are these screw holes are offset. So it's only going to go one way. Okay, and as I put those in, I realized I made a mistake. And the mistake was I forgot to put this through the, forgot to put the wires through this before I put it together. So I have to undo this. And we're going to put a little bit of oil on these gears here. Okay, I have to fix this mess here. And I think I'm missing a part. Yeah, let me find in the box here. There's a part that holds this in, and then I have to take these wires off, well, while we're here. Since I had to take it apart anyhow, I thought it would be best. I should have put a little bit of oil in here before I put this together, so that's what I'm going to do. In other words, drop right there. Like that. That's what I should have done.
And we'll do this guy too here, just to make sure.
Already more than enough oil on there. Okay, so now we're going to remember to put this on first before we try to solder it. No, we can't, because we've got to be able to get in there and solder that. And I did find the part that I needed in my parts bin. And there's the light bulb that we don't need. Those go through there. Close enough. I'm not bragging about that solder, but it'll work. That goes in there like that. And if we want to, we can put just a drop right there. Nope. Right there. To make sure that this spins freely. So, looking at our drawings, that's how this goes in here. Okay, like that. And we have to put the rear truck back together. Get all the extra moisture out of here. Have to check and make sure that these guys aren't dirty or anything. You might have to clean them. I guess we could have put the wheels in and then put the oil on top. That would have worked okay too. So that goes like that, and the brass wheels go on this side like that, right? Nope, goes this way. And that goes on there. Yeah, like that. Okay, like that. And I'm missing a screw. There it is. Okay. So then this goes on here. Oh, almost forgot. And sometimes I put a drop of oil in here just so that the screws don't get stuck. Not completely necessary, but that's what I do. And a lot of times I do replace this wire. I just didn't because I have to solder it onto that light clip. And This looks all right for now. All right, and again, if we want to put a drop of oil in here, like that, just to make sure that that rotates freely. And then we'll put this in here, like that. And then this snaps in. Like that. We have way too much oil. That's all right. The motor's spinning, but the wheels are not. That would tell me that that gear is spinning on the shaft. I gotta take this apart. So I took this apart and found out that the gear, I guess they call that a pinion gear or pivot gear, it's actually inside there. It came right off of the motor here. So what we want to do is clean this really, really good. Put the gear back on. We're gonna have to get just a drop of super glue on the end of that. Well, super glue bottle dried up and I couldn't get the lid off. What I do is I put a little bit on a piece of cardboard or index, because a lot of times you end up just spilling that and making a mess. Then we put just a drop, okay, a drop and a half on here. There you go. And then I take 2 pieces of index card, put them together, and make sure that that gear has a little bit of space in there, like that. Because if you have that gear tight down in there, you're going to get squealing. All right, let me give that a minute to dry. We'll be back. That glue has dried there, so let's test the motor and make sure that everything is working the way that it should. It's working, but I'm hearing a clicking noise. Let me see what's up with that. Okay, the clicking noise must be coming from this gear. I wasn't thinking, I thought that crack was on the other side, but yeah, in fact, that is cracked in that gear right there. So let me see if I can find one of these. I looked through all my parts boxes and I cannot find another one of these that's good. As a matter of fact, I found 4 more of these that are also cracked. So we need to find a way to fix it. And I think I did. Went out to the garage and got a piece of 1/4-inch brake line. Now I did a similar thing with the Bachmann engine, except for I used 3/16 brake line. So this is 1/4-inch. So what I'm going to do is put that there. Use our Christmas tree bit. Okay, so we're going to drill that out to 3/16. Just a little bit on the edge. So 3/16 is like 12/64. And then we're going to put a 13/64 bit in here. Carefully make a mess out of that. So that should fit tightly on there. Let me drill that out just a tiny bit more. So we need just a tiny piece of that. Okay, so we have a little piece like that. We've got to trim that out. This is a day later, and I got that piece of tubing here on the gear, the idler gear, and I'm kind of happy with that. Not completely. There is still a tiny bit of a gap right there, so that did not hold it together perfect. So this is probably going to still click a little bit, but at least the gear won't break and thing will still run. So that should work. Before I put this together, I need to glue this together. So let me do that first, and then we'll get the rest of this done. While we're here, we'll put a coupler on here. Still a little bit of a click in there, but it runs. So I'll take this up to the track and give it a test. Okay, still a little bit of click in there, but it's okay. It runs good. If I find another good Tyco power torque motor with a good gear in it, I'll replace it. But for now, it's fine. Put a couple cars on here. All right. Thank you for watching. This was a fun project.